No.
Hello.
Who are we seeing? I think we're going to have to ask you guys to introduce yourselves a little bit, to tell us who you are and how you are after your walk.
Who are we? Oh, we're there. I was looking over there. Sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Who are we talking to?
Now,
Okay.
I don't know, who have you got? You've got Ellie Benstead on your screen. No?
Yeah, we can see you. Ian, you're Ellie.
I'm Ellie, but Ellie's here as well.
I'm here.
Hi, Ellie.
Hello there. Well done.
Hello.
Welcome, everybody.
Hello there.
Okay, we've been doing with Kate the Thames Bath Walk today, and we were fortunate. We had 3 trustees on one walk. We had more than our share.
Wow.
Lovely.
And you folk.
Which was your walk? The ones that people.
We are very rested after our walk because we did it last day, so we're feeling extremely relaxed.
Yeah, we had 6 last Saturday, 18 today on the medium walk, and about 5, 6, 7 families on a short thing today.
Oh, well done.
The total about 40 people, I think, something like that, or 50 people.
Very good. Well
Very
done.
well done. So one of them was last week, and 2 of them were today. Is that
correct?
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
The long one, a medium one, and a short one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Well done, both. Well done.
We had 21 on our long one, but not all of them stayed the course.
Most of them did.
I think maybe about a dozen stayed the course. 1 or 2 started late, and 1 or 2 finished early. But
Did
Did they fall in the river or something, or what?
No, they just took the easy option. No, the option of
They were offered.
a lift home, or a lift to the first point in the walk.
Because 18.5 miles is quite long, so they were offered the chance to either start and or finish earlier or start later if it suited them better.
Yeah,
but most of them did it all.
I can't get a
Including a family of.
now I've got a sight of everybody.
Oh, there's Andrew.
There's
That's
Andrew.
nice. Hi, Andrew.
And Margaret.
Hello.
Lovely. Gosh, your
Emma.
grandchildren.
Which
were
one did
brilliant.
you talk about?
Not you.
Oh.
And
Oh,
Kate,
lovely.
Hi.
Your grandchildren were great.
and
Margaret.
also Sue Noakes. Welcome to you all.
Yeah, so who was on our walk?
Yeah, it's the Sussex team.
Yeah, as was Yvonne.
Yeah.
We had 23 walkers
Oh, that was good.
Is that Graham?
and 2 marshals who didn't
That's great.
Oh yes, we've got
there's
lots of other
Andrew.
people. Yeah.
And there's Andrew Bain
And
and Michael.
Andrew.
Hi. Oh, and Ali on holiday. Bless
Ali,
you. Thanks for
hello,
coming.
and Graham. That was you
Graham.
speaking a moment ago.
Lovely.
Do you want?
Yeah, Wendy and Ian and.
I can't believe I'm the
Martin.
only one with a Watson top on. Has no one else got a
Martin.
Watson top on?
Yeah, well, we have.
I've got a WhatsApp on.
Okay.
It's a bit cold.
I thought you had
Kate had
to come to this evening. You have to wear a Watson top, otherwise you're not
Well,
allowed.
I could sport our specially modelled high vis jacket with
Yes.
what's on.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. I don't think we're going to be fussy about that.
No, we just
All
like
day, so
I mean, the first thing is to say what a wonderful turnout, and we're really impressed with the achievements of so many people in so many different places. It's absolutely marvellous. So thank you very much indeed.
Everybody mutes themselves now, apart from Ian, who's going to give a little intro. Then there'll be a bit less background noise. So shall we all, all mute ourselves, apart from you, Ian and Ellie? Because I know you're going to do a little welcome to everybody.
Okay, so everybody's muted except me.
Yeah.
There's a privilege. Well, thank you everyone for leading walks, for taking part in walks, for serving tea at walks. We had a wonderful tea at Northmoor Lock served by Margaret Starr on our walk, for example. And I know that people have put extraordinary effort into this whole exercise, and we're delighted that it has been so successful. across the country. So thank you so much. And it would be really good, I think, to hear a little bit about the individual walks in due course. That would be great. But also we're going to, later on, we're going to look at, if we can, get some idea of how much money has been raised by this exercise. It's a good sum, but I doubt if we'll get well, we will not get an accurate estimate, just a very rough estimate, perhaps, of the sort of money that's been raised. And we're very hopeful that it will be enough to complete with the money that we've already raised over the last 6 months or so for the Bwanga Hill scheme, which I hope you've all read about and seen. So thank you so much for all those who participated in one way or another. It's absolutely marvellous. So Kate, would you like to sort of find out who's here and what stories they've got to tell? And I don't know whether we've got any opportunity to put some of the pictures up. There were lots of pictures came into me. I didn't have time to look at them all.
Yeah. Hi everybody, I'm Kate. I'm one of the trustees of Watsan. It's really nice to see so many people here. Yeah, so our plan for this is to keep it relatively brief, but to just hear from everybody about their walks and how they went, and then we will give a little update about the project and a reminder of what this is all about. And then we will also try and do a bit of a totalizer of people's fundraising so that we can all see together how much we've collectively achieved to help with that project and make that project happen. So but yes, could maybe one of the walk leaders could just let us know how today or how it went when they did their walk, and just briefly, perhaps a brief update from each of the walk leaders. I can see Martin there, and I know you did your walk. Did you do yours last weekend? Perhaps you could give it.
No, we've walked today.
Ah, okay, let us know, how did it go?
It was brilliant. No, my wife is in her dressing gown, having had a hot bath, and in the next room.
Jealous.
Yes, no, it was great. We walked from Putney Bridge to Teddington Lock, which was 12.5 miles. There were only 7 of us, but we had the support of our church. We didn't have any extras who wanted to join us, but there were 7 walkers, but the church has been behind us, and I think we're heading towards 2,000 quid for Watsan. So it's great. No, and everybody who went had a great time. One 78-year-old was threatening to die in the last leg from Richmond to Teddington, but we managed to resuscitate him and get him on the train and dump him home. So we think that everybody's survived the walk. So it was.
You're exaggerating there. Sounds rather scary.
Yeah, he went very quiet and said he was feeling faint, but we just sort of grabbed him by the arm and dragged him along the last section. So it was good. No high vis or really qualified. No high vis or qualified first aiders really, although I did pretend to be one myself. But so we've survived, and we're all home and feeling very pleased with ourselves. So it was great, great fun. And after yesterday, when it was so revolting, the weather, it was perfect. It was a lovely temperature, no sun, no rain, and it was really lovely. And the river was just lovely to see. So much action on it with the rowing on that particular stretch. So it's great.
Yeah. And do we have 3 different Thames Path sections? So I think Ian's given an update about R1, which was from Kingston Bagpues to back to Kingston Bagpues via Farmore in the western part of the Thames Path. You were walking the Thames Path in London. And do we have another Thames Path?
No.
There's just 2, east and west. Yeah. Who else can I see? Andrew Bailey, I know that you did one. Could you let us know how your walk went?
Thank you. Yes, we were just 8 walkers and 1 support helper, Marshall. We walked in a circle, well, a sort of a circle, 10.2 miles with an elevation of 1,700 feet, just over. In North Yorkshire, from what James Herriot called the finest view in England, looking over the Vale of York right across to the Yorkshire Dales, and we had a wonderful time. We we worked out a walkers' cafe and a farm at the halfway point. So rather than taking a picnic, we decided to support the local economy and had a very nice lunch in this farm.
Good
cafe.
idea.
Brilliant.
Great idea.
And amazing views, because the Cleveland Way, which we did the difficult up and down bits on the way out to the farm, and then came back along the Cleveland Way, which is a magnificent escarpment with fine views all the way that keep changing. So everybody seemed to enjoy it. I've no idea how much money we've raised, I'm afraid, but everyone enjoyed it. And it was an opportunity to get to know new people. And for new people to get to know a little bit about Wattown.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And James, you've just told us how many people have gone through your walks, which is fantastic. And how did they go, briefly?
Well, thank you. I think it went well. I'm just speaking on behalf of the walk organisers. I can see Ian and Wendy Cooper there, and a couple called Ian and Jackie Tilsley, who organised the long walk last week, which I think was about 22 miles from the King Alfred statue in Winchester all the way back to Bishop's Waltham, with lovely views of the Downs. Highlight, I didn't actually do it all because I had to go to Darson Synod and a wedding with the bishop in the afternoon, so I only did the middle section. But the highlight for me was Wendy's flapjacks, which was a highlight. So that was the long walk last week, and then so medium walk organised today by a couple called Bev and Adrian Rutter, and the Houghtons. Emma Houghton, some of you may know, went on the Uganda trip a while ago. And that was about 18 people on that today, and that was 11 miles. And I ate 3 cakes at the end. That was another highlight. And then we had some lovely visitors from Gosport who are here today. Who gives away? There we are. So that was brilliant. So there's Kate Smythe there, our youth worker. And then we had a family walk today as well, a little kind of 2-miler. And I think there were, well, I don't know, probably about 7 or 8 families in the end. I think they just kind of wandered around in circles, I think. I don't know whether they're still out there somewhere. I don't know where they are, but I hope they'll be back soon.
Right.
That's it. I think it's about 40 people in total probably involved.
That sounds absolutely amazing. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. And then maybe we should go to the Quantox, and Julie and Richard could give us an update on their walk today.
Yes, it's just the 2 of us.
Here we are.
But we had 3 people come and meet us along the way to feed us, cake and lunch and more cake. And we've seen, so all those sites that we saw 2 years ago.
Did you walk through the pea field? I think that's what everybody wants to know.
Thanks to them, it's now a cornfield, specifically barley, which is quite pretty. But we made it up. Give you a little push.
Very good. Very commendable.
Yeah, so it's 10.6 miles, 1,800 feet, and felt quite up and down. But yeah, it was good fun.
Well done.
Fantastic, well done. Maybe we should go to Birmingham next. I don't think Ali's in Birmingham, but you were last week.
That's right. Yes, we're away now. We're up in the Forest of Bowland. But anyway, our walk we did was through the centre of Birmingham. So we walked from our home. There were 6 of us. We did 18.7 miles, and we took in the canals and some of the iconic buildings of Birmingham, and some of the street art in Digbeth, which was all quite varied. So yeah, we had a good walk. Not too many blisters, but yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well done.
Jolly hot day.
Yes, it was quite warm. We didn't have lots of tea and cake on the way, but we did have some tea and cake when we got back to ours. So. Yeah.
I love how this dispersed version of the Walks for Water is taking us all over the country, and we get a little insight from each place. Graham, how did your walk go? I was thinking you were doing yours next week, but you did it today.
Yes, we did it today.
Yeah.
And yeah, it started well. We started in a very nice cafe and had nice coffee by the river, Aaron. And then Amberley, and then we got on to the South Downs Way, and we had 23 of us walking, and then I think there were about 6 or 7 who did a slightly shorter loop within the bigger loop. So we did a loop, started at Amberley, came back to Amberley. There were quite a few hills involved in going up, which meant that we actually could get a good view. We could get a view over the south coast and over the Arun Valley, which was all. You even saw the Isle of Wight through the sort of the mist as well. Walked down a Roman road, and then back along the Monarch's Way. Very historical, really, where Charles II was supposed to have fled. Yeah, so we had a great time, and then came back for more tea and cake.
There's a theme.
Rounded it all off.
So my highlight was I'd promised everybody they would hear skylarks, because on the first bit of the hill, when we checked it out a little while ago, there were skylarks up in the sky. And again, when I parked the car at the Bignor top, so we left a spare car there in case of any issues, the skylark was visible and circling around, so it was really lovely. And the other highlight was a field of poppies. We crossed this road and just walked into this field, and it was just red. People were taking pictures. It was just awesome.
We saw some gorgeous poppies today as well.
Absolutely lovely. And what was lovely, we represented some people from different churches came. We'd invited all sorts of folk. The word got out. So everybody
and from none.
And from none. So there was some great conversations and just a lot of fun, really, I think, was had by all.
Yeah, and probably like other people. You know, when you start talking, there was chattering going on the whole time, which made it a lot easier to walk 12 miles.
Yeah.
I found that.
Yeah.
And another highlight was the rhubarb scone and cream tea at the end of the day.
But we've said already. Yeah.
Rhubarb scone.
Well done. Well done. Okay, who else do we need to hear from?
Michael.
Yes, Michael. So Derby, is that right?
Derby, yes. We walked in South Derbyshire on part of the National Forest Way, returning through part of the Colcabby estate. Unfortunately, 2 of ours had to drop out due to injury and 1 due to illness, so we ended up with only 3.5 walkers. 3 of us for the day, and my grandson joined us for the second half in the afternoon.
Good.
And yours was last week. Okay, fantastic. I think that looks like Ivana and Johnny perhaps have just joined us. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Right.
I just muted you because you just came in there, but can you give us an update about your walk? You'll have to unmute yourselves.
Unmute. Go on.
Hello. Yes. Yeah. This is hello from the Winsley Walk for Water. Let's see if I can get next to Tom and everyone else. Yeah, hi. This is 3 of us left, but there was probably over 20 of us.
This morning,
19 in the morning and another 5 in the afternoon. And we walked 17 miles. We did 2 walks.
19 miles.
19. So, but we had a really good day. Yeah, it's excellent. Yes, we are at the pub, James. Yeah, we're at the pub. And
in the 7 Stars.
Mobile.
Oh, he's gone. He's mobile.
Yeah. Okay, and Andrew, I'm sort of leaving you till last on purpose because I think this whole dispersed walk for water was your idea. I wondered if we have anybody from the other walk, which is Annie Gurner's walk at Ham Hill. I don't think we do we? No. Yeah, so Andrew, last but by no means least, having masterminded this whole idea, do you give us an update?
It was amazingly straightforward, wasn't it? Which was wonderful. And I think the prize goes to Robert and Catherine Charmer, who came from Norwich to walk in Leicestershire.
Did they really?
And we were dispersed. Was it 12 walks? But that was that we were their closest. Although Michael would have been quite close as well. Well, you know, just we were actually quite close, Michael and our walk in the. So yeah, we were 8 people, and we all really got on really well. And for me, the thing that I loved the most was that we had an easterly wind. I don't know if you noticed that, and it meant you couldn't hear the M1. So I was really chuffed with that.
Oh, yeah. And what about Tim and Margie from Bristol? Are they there?
They are. They might like to say, well, they did a sort of family project which they could tell us about.
Our son in Manchester and his 7-year-old daughter, she was just 7, her birthday was a few days before, climbed the Old Man of Coniston. And Amber, who was the one who was sponsored, aimed for, I think it was £80, and I think she's made nearly £200. So she was really
good.
Very good.
Kind of First Proper Mountain. And Tim and I, with 2 other friends, did a Bristol walk, Bristol City walk, and it was 18 miles, but I must confess we did break it up into sections. So we did a bit one day and we did it over 4 days. Absolutely brilliant. For those of you who know and love Bristol, the first bit, the first 2 sections were really through the heart of lovely Bristol. The second section ending by walking over Clifton Suspension Bridge. And then the next 2 sections were going north, and they were more countrified, but still very lovely. And we did it as the leaves had just come onto the trees and everything was in the fresh new growth of late spring. It was wonderful. So thank you, Andrew, for encouraging us all. And we just loved taking part in our walk. And hopefully we'll be able to send you some money soon.
Lovely.
That's fantastic. Yes, thank you. And thank you for the lovely photos that you sent on the WhatsApp group. And thanks to everybody for sending photos around there. I'm not going to try, I got in the front door about 2 minutes before we had to start the call, so I'm not going to try and get the photos off the WhatsApp group and show them to you here, but hopefully you're all on that group and can see them. And I hope it's okay with everybody if we use those to sort of write up a little report about the Walks for Water on our website. So if there's any photos that you don't want me to use for that, then please let me know, or perhaps on WhatsApp. So we are going to just, hopefully you might have all seen this already, but just to remind us what we were doing this for and why we've been doing this, I'm just going to show you again the video about the Bwanga project. And then after that, I think either Ian or Graham is going to give us an update from the field from the WhatsApp team in the field on the Bwanga project and just generally as well. Is that okay?
Graham, I think.
Yeah, Graham will. Okay, so yeah, if we could all mute ourselves, and I'm just going to share this video as a reminder, if we're suffering and feeling sore, and I can't wait to get in the bath after this, and my blisters are not great, but I just wanted to think of the people that I remember seeing in this video, and it really is, this is why we've done it, really. So
are we muted? Have you muted us? Good. I'll get that in action while we're watching.
At Bwanga Secondary School, basically, we have 4 sources of water. We have the gravity flow scheme, we have the rain harvest, we have a protected spring, and a borehole. However, all these have challenges. For example, the gravity flow is intermittent, and this forces students to go to the congested protected spring to fetch water, and which is very far. As for the rain harvest, the water tank is small and the capacity cannot sustain us for long, together with the communities. The borehole has since broken down, therefore it's not reliable at all. So much as we have those 4 water sources, they are not enough and they are not helping us, especially with a big population of 650 students. Actually, this place or community has challenges and they don't like themselves. They feel neglected. They don't enjoy their lives simply because they don't have enough water to wash their clothes, to bathe. So you find there are even conflicts regarding water usage in homes. Our students' education has been affected because it's time consuming. The time they spend going to fetch water, it constitutes hard labor because a child carrying a jerrycan or a 20-liter jerrycan from the spring up to here. And you know, when you talk of a healthy mind in a healthy body, this one is lacking because they don't have water to make their bodies healthy, thus not having healthy minds.
People sometimes get diseases because of the contaminated water they fetch. They spend a lot of time waiting for water. They compete at the water sources, and I believe even in their homes they don't have good sanitation because they fear to use water, and I think that affects their health and their well-being.
We are so grateful to Watson. We were here suffering with students of over 1,000 who would go out to fetch water from the protected spring of over 1 kilometer. So when Watson came in and it gave us 2 tanks, we benefited a lot in terms of health, sanitation for our students. We got a chance to protect our students and they are able to stay in school without going out to look for water. Even the environment is clean because we can clean our school as well as our bodies.
It has helped us to give us with the water rain tanks, which has shortened on our time, whereby we used to get out of the school and search for water. And so now with these tanks, we are so much blessed because we are accessing water within the school.
We used to have a few latrines which would empty twice a term, and they were not enough for the students. But with the offer from Watson, we have a VIP latrine, actually latrines for both girls and boys, with a changing room where girls are very comfortable when it comes to their period.
Nka community katuyambire munonga kuko twatwine shortage y'amizi kandi hati abantu biyale barafite amizi kandi neya community yone twashorora mu dini turashorora mu bantu bwana abantu bona bo umwanya bahwereye munonga.
After the whole implementation, we were aware that these are our projects, so they are entirely in our hands, and we try by all means to see that they are cared for. We do the cleaning, we do the security so that they are not spoiled by anybody.
They have helped us to solve the problem of congestion, because I remember back at the days before we had them, we had a problem of congestion during showering, washing our clothes. But right now, because we have the facilities, we are able to get everything that we want, and a good health, a good mind.
So we thank Watson so much.
So I hope you could hear that okay, and that you've seen it before, but I think it's a really nice reminder of why we've all sort of injured ourselves today, perhaps during this walk. And I really found it interesting what the headmaster at the beginning said. He said the community people here don't like themselves, And that really struck me when I was editing that together. And you can really see the impact that a Watson project has made and the ownership that the community takes over it. This isn't Watson parachuting in and completing a project and then sort of washing their hands of it. It's the community being handed over and taking ownership of that project and really sustaining it and maintaining it over time. So that's what I really like about Watson's projects. So yeah, that's the need and the potential that there was there in Bwanga. And I think, Graham, could you give an update about where we are now with Bwanga? You need to unmute yourself first.
I have to confess, I don't know exactly where we are with Bwanga. I mean, Ian might have a better feel as to where things are currently going. But I just wanted to pick up a couple of things actually from there, which going on from what you were saying, Kate. I think the other thing is that we saw young girls, carrying water, and I think we've mentioned it before that that's a whole safeguarding issue as well. It's a risky business for girls going collecting water away from the school. And I think you saw the bathing shelter, this corrugated area where they were having, that's where they bathe, that's where they shower and wash themselves. And as you've probably picked up on the details that went around Bwanga Hill, in fact, at the moment, there's one latrine for every 105 boys and one for every 46 girls. So I would hate to think what it's like in the morning, trying to get through that. But you've also seen the latrines that were at G Hill, which were behind the headmistress there, and what we were able to do through our team, which are our brilliant team in Uganda, who are both involved in the construction. We call that the hardware team, which is coordinated by Eric Bwanga, and also the software team, as we call it, which goes through the health promotion and the mobilisation of the community. It's very important that the community know it's their scheme, that it's actually owned by them, because at the end of the day, we want these schemes to be sustainable. And they only are sustainable when the people know that it's their scheme and they're going to look after it. So I wasn't going to say much more, but Ian, perhaps you know exactly what the situation is in terms of where they currently are. You're on mute, Ian. You're on mute, Ian.
Mute. Okay, yes, I can probably help a little bit. The position with Bwanga is that earlier this year we had some funds available after people have been very generous to us in the wake of the big lockdown last year and early this year. People were very generous, and we had a sum of something like £3,500, with which we were able to fund a first stage of the Bwanga scheme. And we felt that the right thing to do was to begin that scheme by renovating, and I think it really came down to rebuilding the spring which both the school and the community in the area depend upon. The school to some extent and the community almost completely depend upon for their water supply. So the team went in and they rebuilt the local community spring, which will of course be of benefit to the community itself, but also to the school as a first stage of the Bwanga project. That work has been completed. And indeed, there is something that I need to mention at this point in time, which I haven't mentioned, and some of you know about this, but many of you will not. That spring was called Kashojwa it's quite a difficult word, like a lot of other Ugandan words. It's spelled Kashojwa, Kashojwa. And it was completed, as I said, and Bishop Benon Magezi commissioned that scheme on, I think it was March, the middle of March, March the 15th. And he's been a great friend to Watsan, and we had some very sad news about him just earlier this week, insofar as Bishop Dan, who is the other bishop in our area, emailed us to say that sadly Bishop Benon had passed away in Kampala, suffering from COVID, which highlights the point that Uganda is going through a second wave, or it possibly even is a third wave, of COVID infections, which does appear to be a lot worse than the first one or two. The country doesn't, of course, have the resources or the facilities to test. Kate has kindly put up on the screen.
Ian. Yeah, so you can see Ben at Kashojwa.
Yeah, a Kashojwa spring, which you can see is what we call a high yield spring, sorry, a low yield spring, and therefore has to have a tank built at the back of it to store the night flows and therefore increase the total amount of water available to the community. But here we have a picture, and I don't know how well you can see it, of Bishop Benon himself commissioning that first stage of the Bwanga Hill project. Sadly, Bishop Benon is no longer with us. He was in hospital in Mbarara, which is about 60 miles away from Rukungiri, taken there by the diocesan ambulance. And then the president sent a helicopter. It shows the significance that the government attaches to the Church of Uganda. It's rather different to the circumstances here, I guess. The president sent a helicopter to airlift him to Kampala, but sadly he died about 1 week later, 2 weeks after he had originally been hospitalized. And one or two of us have had the opportunity and the privilege to watch parts of the funeral service, which was held in Namirembe Cathedral, attended by Bobby Wine, that you may have heard of, some of you, was the opposition candidate to the government, and also Dr. Besigye, who was the previous opposition candidate, and just a very small congregation in a service led by the provost of Namirembe Cathedral, and the Archbishop of Uganda gave a very moving tribute to Bishop Benon, and his family were allowed to speak, and that too was very moving. Bishop Benon was over here in England 18 months ago or so and stayed with us one night.
2 nights.
2 nights, I beg your pardon, 2 nights. And those of you who were on the tour, of course, and I can see on my screen here, for example, Ian Cooper, but James also, and Johnny was on the tour, and also Janice, that I can also see there, maybe one or two others. Will remember
Ian.
that it.
No.
Yes, I see. There were one or two others maybe who were there, that they will remember that it was Bishop Benon who commissioned the Rumbugu Primary School project while we were there. And so it's with great sadness that we have lost Bishop Benon, because he was a great friend of the Watsan project. And he had a little hand there in the first stage of Bwanga Hill. We have not funded Bwanga Hill any further. And so whilst they did the spring, they also did quite a bit of community mobilization and also sanitation and health and hygiene education. They have done that work already in the first quarter of this year. Sadly, now that they are locked down, they will not be able to do any more of that until the COVID scene eases. but they are able and are continuing to work as they did in the first lockdown on a large, fairly large gravity flow scheme in a very poor area of Kinchizi Diocese. And also they're working on another spring protection, or rather spring renovation, in Rukungiri Diocese, so that the guys on the ground are allowed to continue to work. But there can be no education project because people are not allowed, as we know very well here during our lockdown, to gather together in any numbers, more than I think half a dozen or so. And also there is a night curfew, so people have to be back in their homes by 6:30, I think it is, every evening, or 7 p.m. every evening. So that's the latest, but we're going to hear about what funds we've raised, and I'm really very hopeful that we will be able to get that scheme started again. That's the Bwanga scheme. And of course, it's a comprehensive scheme that covers sanitation, and we've mentioned the poor situation in the school with a number of sanitation arrangements, or stances as they call them, or the lack of them. And also the water supply, very similar to the situation that was described to you in Chihihi, which we will be able to put to rights. At least the hardware will be able to proceed, and obviously we'll pick up the software work in the meantime, but we may also in the meantime have to provide some furlough payment, similar to what has been done in the UK, to keep the software team going until the crisis ends. Thank you. That's all I can really say.
So as Ian said, we're going to try and give you an idea of how much has been raised, but it's a bit tricky because obviously we know that some of the walks are still going on. But those of you who've been using Stewardship to collect online donations, we do, Ali, our treasurer, is able to see the total that's been raised on Stewardship. So we do have that for you. But I just wonder, before I show you that, if anybody's raised any money offline, could you just sort of private message me how much that is, and I can put it into a sort of Blue Peter style totalizer that I've got for you, or if you've got a sort of finger in the air, because this really is going to be very it's not going to be very accurate for now, but I just wanted us to be able to see roughly, you know, how are we doing towards our total. So if you can, in the chat, if you know how to do that, if you open up the chat box by clicking at the bottom, in the bottom toolbar there's a chat button. And you can, at the bottom of that, select my name, Kate Parinder, from the list and send me, if anybody's raised any money using a paper sponsorship form or using a different fundraising platform, or using any other method, then you can just privately send that to me. Okay, so I'm seeing some coming through, thank you. So what I'm going to do now is just screen share my slightly experimental totalizer. Let me make sure I share the right thing. Okay, so this is really inspired by Blue Peter. I hope everyone can see that. So the target for Bwanga is 20,000 for what we need to raise to continue the project. And I'm just going to go on. Screen sharing is paused. Can you still see my little bar graph?
No.
No.
You can see it now. Oh no, my experiment's not going to work like I intended to. Right, I'm just going to flick back and forth, so bear with me. So I'm going to first put in 2,500. You can see that now, I hope. That Ali heroically raised as part of a grant application to St James's Place Foundation. So we're going to see how this little bar now starts to grow. Now I've added donations that we've already raised before the Walk for Water. As you can see that it's starting to grow up a bit more. Now on Stewardship, Ali tells me that as of today, we raised £14,105 from all of your efforts. So that brings us up. Oh, that can't be right. That doesn't look right to me.
The first one's too high.
Yeah.
The cost has escalated.
Experimental. What have I done? I've mistyped something.
Hope not.
14,105. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
That sounds good.
The cost column has grown.
Yeah, anyway, I don't know why okay, this might be a formula problem. I'm sorry about that. In my spreadsheet, they're coming to now, the two bars are supposed to be the same. It should be the same height. Sorry. Right, and let me go back to Zoom and add some of these numbers that people have just told me. So I think those are another 2. This is going to look ridiculous on the totalizer now. Oh, it's okay. I can see what's happened. It's just lifted at the top of the. So if you look at the range there on the left-hand side, there, it's just showing us the top of the totalizer bars. I don't know why Excel's doing that. Sorry. So we can actually see. I didn't know until just now, but we can actually see that we're smashing our target. So that's great. Yeah, so the total there, if I've added those things together right, is nearing over 23,000. The target being 20. So I hope I've got that right. And as I'm saying, I don't think that's going to be entirely accurate, but I think, you know, well done everybody, because I think actually that does show. I mean, particularly that's the stewardship total, which will be quite accurate. But don't forget that you can ask people in the coming days. I did my walk for water. I've got 1,500 blisters. Please, it's not too late to sponsor me. My page is still open. So if there's anybody you haven't asked or hasn't given me who said they would, and go and chase them up, because it's not too late to donate even after your walk's finished. So I think that will also go up, won't it? I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Ali. And I'm not quite sure if that's exactly how you were intending for me to do it, but I was catching up on it very quickly after I got back from the walk. But does that sound right, given the things that I've explained?
Yeah. No, it's fantastic, and just a absolutely amazing total that we've already got, and I know there's going to be bits and bobs more coming in. So yes, if you've got offline stuff that's been done outside stewardship or elsewhere, please do let me know, and hand over stuff to me, and I will bank it and deal with it. So yeah, I look forward to
I've just seen there's a further sort of 400 odd sent to me in the chat already, so I'm gonna keep adding them.
Wow.
That's fantastic. Yeah, well done everybody. And I think that really shows that I think we've reached maybe more people to do walks and sponsor us all via this dispersed format than we might have done in a normal year. So yeah, I think that's really a really fantastic achievement, and it looks like we'll be able to fund Bwanga. Is that fair to say? I'm sort of making it up as I go now.
It sounds very promising, doesn't it? I think we'll have to look at these numbers in detail.
Yeah. Ali will do it properly, very rigorously.
When she's back from her holiday.
When she's back from her holiday, but I'm really delighted to see that. Those numbers adding up, and those numbers that you've all contributed towards. There's another funny thing put in the chat. Fantastic. So it's going up and up. It is a bit like Blue Peter, isn't it? Maybe more like, yeah. That's really great. Thank you everybody so much. Yeah, that's fantastic. So I think we were just going to say some concluding words, unless anybody's got any questions for the trustees.
Or maybe any comments from anybody about this format of Walks for Water, and whether they think that perhaps it's preferable to having a central Walk for Water as we have had in previous years.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Hand up. Yeah.
I think there's probably space for both. The advantage of the central one is it gives us, people like us have come to know Kate and Ian and Graham and others much better than would otherwise have had the opportunity, and it gives us more commitment, I think, because of that. And whilst we might not want to do 2 long walks in the same year, we might consider having a central one year and a dispersed alternate year. There's less organisation, I think, for the core team if we do it that way, or slightly more than before, but not twice as much work. And it gives the opportunity for a lot more local people to become aware of what's SAN and to and to commit in the way that it seems evident that people have.
Any other contributions? Because that's very interesting to hear that suggestion, and maybe some other ideas.
Got a thumbs up. I think that means you agree. Yeah.
I would say that it's having the dispersed walk has forced people like me, who hasn't been on a centralised walk, to get his whole church now talking about Watsan. So I think as a sort of an evangelical mission, it's a very successful way of spreading the word of Watsan rather than focusing on the same people who go on a walk every year. So, you know, and a number might well perhaps start doing standing orders, and now they know about it, they've looked on the website, and it's become a focus for more and more people. So I think it's been very useful for that.
Thank you for that. That's very interesting. That is a big plus in favour of dispersed walks, isn't it? We get more people involved. But I take the point that it's good for supporters of Watsan to actually meet each other face to face as well in a central meeting or central walk.
Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, look at this!
So that's
jumping up
much more clearly, I think. But I've added things that people have just sent me as well. Yeah, that's really fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yes, thank you indeed, everyone, for this massive effort.
So I think that's the end of our planned kind of schedule for tonight. But if anybody wants to stay around and have a chat or ask a question, please do. Ian, do you want to say anything closing before we log off?
I don't think I've got anything to add. I mean, I personally found, I think a comment that somebody made just now was that because of the opportunity to have conversation as we walked along, and there was a lot of conversations going on all the time throughout our walk, the walk seemed shorter and easier. And I think that is some sort of an indication of how successful I think, I gather, all of your walks were, because you did have smaller numbers. I think that is not necessarily a disadvantage. Sometimes our walks with the centralised walks have had 40 or 50 people, whereas we had 21, I think it was today. That was a very good number. And one was able to have conversations with almost everybody throughout the walk. So that works very well, and we'll have to think about this format for the future. And what the sky's the limit. We had 12, or if you count Margie and Amber's efforts, 14 or 15 walks throughout the country. 14 or 15 great efforts on behalf of Watsan and the Bwanga Hill scheme. So many thanks indeed to everybody for your marvelous efforts on their behalf.
Can I just say we were we're frozen.
We can still hear you, Julie.
It's a bit buzzy, but we can hear you.
We were presented with this box, which, as you can see, says heroes, all our walkers. It was presented by our support team.
Oh,
wonderful. To the heroes. Well, you were heroes.
Yeah, that's all of you.
Especially those of you with bad blisters.
Yeah.
Well
Could I also make a comment, perhaps talking on behalf of everybody who's done walks today, that we'd love to send not just the money, but our love and greetings to the team. I'm sure everybody here would put their hand up to that, particularly in this time of grief. And while they'll be going through a difficult time within the diocese and so on, and so just send our love and greetings, as well as when the money goes. Obviously, it comes with all our thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, good thought, Philip.
We can mention that many of our supporters also wanted to be associated. We have, of course, sent a letter of condolence already to both Bishop Dan and also to Eric and the team. But we can follow that up, of course, with some sort of comment of that sort about how concerned and shocked our supporters were to hear this news, and and how their feelings were needed to be conveyed in that way. So okay, we can do that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
There is, by the way, on the website a short, for those who haven't seen it, there is a short obituary, we could call it, or reference to Bishop Bennon's support and enthusiasm for the WhatsApp project during the period when he was both the treasurer of the Rukungiri Diocese, North Kigezi Diocese, and also during his, as it turns out, quite short but only 4-year period as Bishop of North Kigezi.
I can see that people are going off for hot baths and things now. So shall I end the meeting there? Thank you.
I think we should
I'm sure
stop
you're
there.
ready for one, Kate, for one. Your blisters.
Yeah, indeed.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks
well done,
very much.
Lovely to see you all.
Thank you,
Have a
Kate,
lovely holiday, Ali.
thank you,
Thank
Kate,
you.
for organising it.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, lovely to see you all.